I'm Ariana Grande.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Erivo.
And you're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Visit bpn.fm to discover more.
There's a cat over here. There's a cat over there. And the wrong one died. And the wrong one died.
Welcome to The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown of catastrophe. I'm your host, Mike Abrams, and today we have another amazing guest. Right now, you can see him as Don Kirshner in Just in Time on Broadway, but before that, he was in, I think, many productions of Cats, including what I was told is an illegal high school production that I want to hear so much more about. So welcome, Caesar Samayoa. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much, Mike.
What an
I'm
intro.
happy to be here.
What an intro. I was teased. I still don't have the details. So I was teased this, like, hey, here's somebody, come on. I saw Just in Time. I loved it. I loved your character. I loved the show. It was so much fun.
Thank you.
I knew there was you have some other cats in your cast there. And so
Absolutely.
I was told about this. So let's dive right into this. What is an illegal high school production of Cats?
Let's go. Well, first of all, when I was growing up, Cats was the thing. It was the show. It was the amazing show. I was in this performing arts center when I was younger, junior high school, called Act 2 Performing Arts Center in Glen Rock, New Jersey. It was basically a step above kind of like doing performances in your living room. Basically, our parents and friends would come and see the shows that we did. And we did an absolutely illegal production of Cats. I think I was in high school at that point. I played Rum Tum Tugger in that production.
Okay.
And I mean, we had full-on costumes and makeup and crawling through the audience. We thought we were doing the full-on Broadway production. I remember embarrassingly, one of my dearest friends in the world to this day, Michelle Peacock, and now Michelle Harvey, and I went to see Cats about 5 times with notebooks and took notes throughout the performance because we wanted to make sure we got everything right in terms of our characters and our staging and everything. But we did a full-on production of Cats in kind of like the gymnasium of a high school that the Performing Arts Center rented out, with all the music and everything you could imagine with it. We thought we were the coolest people in the world.
What was in your Tugger notebook? Like, what did you pick out from seeing it 5 times for him?
Oh, no, you have no idea. I mean, we're talking about head turns. We're talking about
detail. Okay.
looks. This poor cast, now being on the other side, being an actor, what they must have thought to have these, kids in the audience with full notebooks out, just taking notes the entire show.
That's amazing. Okay, so this is, and you did the whole show, full 2.5 hours, intermission.
Oh, yeah,
and
we didn't do highlights. We did the full show, including, going up to the heavy side layer, which really meant stepping on 4 steps.
Yeah.
The lights dim as
the walk
the
to the heavy side
gymnasium
layer.
curtain, psychedelic curtain, just started closing in front of you.
All right, so you were in it from early on. This was the show for you, and you were, you have notebooks, you were studying it at a rate nobody else was.
This is so embarrassing.
I like to think this is the show that captures things that nobody else is talking about, because this is only about your tie to Cats. And so you did. I love that concept. Hey, we're not going to even ask the real useful group. We're just going to go do it. We're going to make our own costumes. Yeah.
Yes. And we had the full on kind of bodysuits, spray painted to look exactly like the what was happening on Broadway. At least we thought in our heads. I would love to see pictures now. But we just thought we were the coolest people in the world.
I love it. Statute of limitations is out, so we're fine. You're good. They can't come asking for any royalties or anything. But and then you did it
what
regionally.
Royalties? We paid to do it.
Exactly. You're paying to put it on the production, and okay. So then you did it regionally too for a little bit as well. What's your Cats history performing in the show besides this high school production?
Yeah, well, when I first moved into the city, Cats was winding down. I think it maybe had a year or 2 left, but I kept on being called in for the Broadway production and the national tour. And at that point in our history, you would audition on the Broadway set. So I think I went like 5-6 times for Monkestrap in the Broadway production. I think it was going to be like the last, cast doing it. And for the national tour. And I'll never forget walking, backstage into that theater and then, getting ready and then getting yourself on stage and learning the choreography and actually doing the choreography in the middle of the cat set at the Winter Garden Theater. And then I got a call if I wanted to do the Monkestrap role for the national tour. And on the same day, I got a call to do a production called Shakespeare's R&J off Broadway, which was a 4-person production of Romeo and Juliet. And I wanted to do Cats so badly, but this was a huge opportunity to stay in town. And R&J became the longest running Shakespeare in world history when we played off Broadway. And so I'm glad I made that choice, but I was this close to being in an actual real production of Cats.
You would have been on the tour. This would have been probably the 5th tour, the 4th tour. Was it the non-equity one?
No, it was the equity one.
It probably was the 4th tour then.
Yeah. And it was definitely a year, either the year Cats was winding down on Broadway or 2 years, before it closed. But yeah, I'll never forget it because we had the opportunity to audition. I went in like 5 times for this, to audition right on that stage.
That's amazing. Yeah, at the Winter Garden. It's kind of sad that they don't do that anymore. I feel like I'm not a performer, but I hear all these stories about going on the Winter Garden stage and doing your audition and versus going to like a studio room in Midtown now that like everyone pops into. It's a very different experience and it's got to be such a cool part. Yeah.
Well, I remember my first Broadway auditions walking into all these theaters, and auditioning on stage, but also, I don't understand why they don't do it because you get a very real sense of what this performer or this actor is going to be like in the show with your auditioning in the actual theater and set that it's taking place on.
Yeah, it's also probably will weed out some, not weed out. I mean, everyone who's doing this are way more talented than I am at doing this, but it's a different feeling of being in front of the stage with people staring at you than like in a small room with like a piano on the side. It's like a very different, it puts you truly into the moment.
Oh, definitely. And I always feel that, these auditions that we have in these tiny studios in Midtown now are a much more intimate version of what's actually going to be happening on a Broadway stage. So I'm not sure it's to the benefit of the creative team to be doing auditions in that setting. But, that's me.
I'm sure lots of people have thought a lot about it, and there's a very good reason for why they're doing it that way now.
Yeah, definitely.
So you played Tugger. You almost played Monkestrap. Did you fill out the brothers? Did you ever audition for McCavity here?
I never auditioned for McCavity. I was never that good of a dancer, but I did do an actual real production at, this was West Virginia Musical Theater. Not West Virginia, Virginia Musical Theater. This was back in 2005, and it was one of those summer gigs that was like 2 weeks of rehearsal and a week of performance. And I did the Buster Jones, Gus Grout Tiger track.
Okay.
And that was a blast because I was like, finally, I did the real choreography of the show. We had all the original choreography, and I absolutely love that Gus track. I think it's just such a beautiful kind of storyline in the show. Very touching storyline. And for me, that week was just enough. It was just enough to put on the costumes and do all the makeup. And I was like, great, I did it. I'm good.
And how many times did you do it in your high school production? Like also a weekend? Like
I'm sure it was a weekend. I'm sure it was like 3 whole performances.
So you've got a week and a half. You've got a week and a half of Cats under your belt. Professionally.
Yes, I probably saw the show more times than I actually performed the show.
So I'm curious. I'm assuming for your week run of regional, you didn't go to the theater and take notebooks to watch Bus Gus.
No.
But how much do they tell you about the characters when you're only going to do a week? Like, do they go into the backstory of that much depth for you?
Oh, they totally do. We got actually some, like notebooks of all kind of like the backstories that you hear about, Cat's lore. And also, our director, Stephanie Lang, I believe, was just a part of the Cats family. So she really filled out as much as possible. And we were definitely doing the original choreography of that show.
Wow.
I'll never forget learning that choreography, and probably the entire show we learned in about 2-3 days.
That's crazy.
And then it was really about running it over and over again to get it into our bodies, because that is deceptively hard, that choreography.
Completely. So the first time I ever saw the show was 2016, which I know is different. It's the Andy Blankenbuehler choreography. But my reactions when I walked out, as someone, I had just moved to New York. I had not seen that much theater. I'd seen some, but not to the extent that I have now. And I remember saying two things. One was, what was the story I just watched? And two was, that looked so physically challenging and demanding. That is probably, I go to a lot of sporting events. I was like, this is an athlete. Like, these people are athletes. To be able to do that ball is like 13 minutes of nonstop dance.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end of, your only break is Mungo, Jerry, and Rumpelteazer. Otherwise, you're all on the stage at all times, dancing through the whole thing. And if you're not dancing, you're probably crawling. So you're not getting a break by any means. And I remember walking out being like, that looked like the most difficult, physically demanding thing I've ever seen. And I was blown away by that. And so I can't imagine learning it in 2 or 3 days and then doing it for a week. Or if you would have taken the tour gig, getting on a bus, doing a split week, going somewhere, doing it, getting right off the bus and doing it again. I mean, it is a incredibly challenging show.
It's no joke. I mean, really, I think you said you hit the nail on the head when you said it's, these are athletes up there doing this. You have to be able to have that in your body in order to be able to kind of do this show. But it's beautiful choreography, really, when you break it down. And I think what I love it's all encompassing, because you're portraying felines up there, right? So it's you're using your entire body to show some of these emotions and expressions that you may not normally. So it is really kind of just a huge feat to get through a performance. Props to anybody who does a long run of this show.
Yeah. So I do love that, because one thing that I've had people mention, I've heard a lot, is Cats is one of the few shows that you really could play throughout your career, because you can do it early as a kitten, and then you can play the teenagers, and then you can play the Gus or the Jenny. And I love that you already have kind of done some of it. I mean, you're definitely by no means towards the Gus level of your career, but you did get to do Buster Jones and Gus and Growl Tiger, and probably a dancing unnamed or loosely named cat in the beginning. And you did Tugger. And you almost did Monkish Trap. And so is there anybody else, what would be the dream one that you would, if you could do any of the characters, which one would be right now in your life? It's I would love to do that role.
I would actually love to go back to Gus, to be totally honest. Yeah. I loved that role. And, people have all types of opinions about Cats, but I absolutely loved it. And then being in it, I got a whole different kind of perspective on it. I think it's a gorgeous show, especially if you truly fill it out with the backstories that are being offered out to you.
Yeah.
By people in the know. But being able to kind of dig into that Gus role again, this theater cat would just be wonderful at this stage.
So what is your pitch to the people that aren't Cats fans or haven't gone? What are you going to tell somebody on the first time they're seeing it? Hey, here's what you should go in and watch. Because you mentioned, if you know the story and the backstories, at this point when I watch a show, it's totally different than I watched it in 2016, because I know way too much about every Cat's backstory.
Exactly.
And so it makes it kind of a different viewing. But if someone's coming to watch the tour or any of the regional productions that are doing it right now, what are you telling them?
If you are watching an authentic production of Cats, right, that is done with the original choreography, and it's done with all the intentions were shared to that cast about what the show is really about, I would go and watch that show with different lenses on and really try to figure out what the relationships on that stage are, because it's very deep. You have to remember, when this was first developed, these were the tops in the industry. This is when some kiddie show thrown on stage. So there's real stories happening on that stage, and real relationships, very deep relationships. that span these characters' lives. I know this sounds silly to say because you're playing cats, and people think it's, you know, almost an amusement park show at this point. But it is so not. And it would be really wonderful to try to figure out what the relationships are with each character and what their histories have been.
I am glad you said that, because you said two things that are actually perfect timing for when this episode will air. Because one is that you called it an amusement park, and there's a regional production in Lancaster, Pennsylvania at the Fulton Theater that is doing an abandoned amusement park. Version of Cats this summer, and our episode with that will already been out for a couple weeks. But also, there was a production in Aurora, Illinois, near Chicago, that actually posted in their playbill their version of the family tree. And I will send it to you when we hang up, so you can see it. At some point by the time this is out, I will have probably posted it, because I did an episode with them too, and I asked some questions because they made some choices, because there are some things that aren't 100% clear. Like, it's definitely, I've heard from different productions, they played them different ways. Right. But there are some things that are clear. So how much time, again, you were on stage for a week and a half total. How much time do you flesh out those relationships when you're doing this for a week?
You know, I believe, you know, that if you are entering, you know, a production of Cats, and it's not just about this glorious choreography that you're doing, you know, it's your job to really flesh out what these relationships are and what they could be and what your history was. So for me, that, as difficult as it was for me to learn that choreography, because I've never been a dancer first. I happen to be able to dance, but I wouldn't have never considered myself a dancer first. As difficult as that was for me, the real joy was filling the rest of the show and filling my track up with this, you know, very in-depth backstory for these characters.
I'm ready. I'm ready to hear it. What do you remember of it?
Well, you know, honestly, every single actor on that stage has a story. Yeah. You know, and they also have a history with each other. Some of them are related, some are not. They have their likes, they have their dislikes, they have occurrences in their lives that have happened. I wish I could remember the specifics of everything, because at this point it is very in depth that, you know, what can happen. But it makes me think of what that original room must have been like, what that original room back in the UK, like back in the day when they were really creating the show, and what the story of it, you know, could be. What was that like? That must have been one of the most creative, you know, experiences of some of these people's lives. Completely.
I always go back to that of like, how much story have you added or written, or did you need to write to be able to do this 8 times a week, and other things that could just be forgone, or there's some scenarios where you could play it a different way each night and it's not going to dramatically change the whole story, but it would be a slightly different feel for you on stage. And I think, like, I've always gone back to the example is in the Paramount one, the one in or just outside Chicago, they made Bomb and Demeter sisters. And I have heard sisters, I've heard best friends, I've heard lovers. And so, and there seems to be no consensus. And I feel like you could do that differently every night, and it's not going to really change, because the dynamic of that McCavity song is still there, whether they're sisters, best friends, or lovers. It's just like a look might be a little bit different.
Yes. So I think what we're getting to here is that there has to be something, right? It's not just about the athleticism and the beauty of this dance and like, oh, they're all playing cats on stage. If you're going to really be doing a production where the audience is actually feeling an emotional kind of release with that last number of memory and someone being chosen and whatever that means in that production, you have to fill it up with a true story all throughout it, or else that doesn't mean anything at the end. It's just kind of like a showy belt song, you know what I'm saying? And I love that this show, well, any show really, but this show really allows for so many different interpretations. I mean, look at the version of the Jellicle Ball that we just did. Yeah. You know, it's incredible what could happen with this material.
I think it's in the absence of having a clearly defined story that's spoken to you it leaves the interpretation wide. And that's why there's fan fiction and all kinds of different versions, and you can add characters and it's probably not going to change too much. They've renamed characters, they've pulled pieces out, because it's just a world that's been built. You've built this kind of jellicle world, you've got a couple known truths, and then the rest could be tweaked and adjusted. And I mean, right now I've been fascinated by this. I think there's like a jellicle renaissance here, because every regional production in the country seems to be doing it. But there's one in Texas that's doing a rodeo themed jellicle ball. There's the circus cats is the one in Chicago, or just outside Chicago in Aurora. And then there's the amusement park cats. And then I'm sure there's going to be more. There's ballroom cats. There's so many kind of interpretations that it's all still the same story for the most part, with some tweaks or just some different, some layering in. And I think that's kind of why I've been able to do 200 plus episodes too, is talking to different people, because I hear a different story almost every time, or I hear a new theory or a new relationship that I might not have thought of before. Yeah.
Well, you just reminded me, another aspect of this that made it such a joy to do this show is that your relationships are just going to change just because of the company, the specific company that you're in, So I already happen to have a bunch of friends doing that production at Virginia Musical Theater, for instance, that deepened our relationships because we already had a relationship and a past. And for, say, a role like Gus, there's so many opportunities to look at your fellow actors on stage and fill that with your imagination and with moments of what that person might have been in, say, in your career, in your life, or a family member, or maybe someone that you were in an argument with. Again, it's like, it sounds crazy, but, talking about all this stuff, because people are like, oh, you're playing Cats. But I think doing a production of Cats is one of the most creative experiences if you allow yourself to go that way.
Completely. And you become a family. And I've done a few interviews with married couples from Cats, and I love it because I'm like, wait a second, your two characters should not have been dating or together at that point. And like this is, so, it does probably, their performances probably slightly were tweaked because of that, because they were off stage dating at the time, which is, again, fun.
We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back for more of The Wrong Cat Died.
We got to talk about Just in Time. So I want to move us into this, because I do want to, we'll bring Cats back into Just in Time. But yes. I had heard about this a while back, because, this has been kind of teased for a while of going in. And I didn't, as someone who didn't know as much about Bobby Darin's life, like I knew a few of the songs, I knew a little bit of it. I walked in kind of blind, and I knew that you were going to be, I knew about Jonathan, I knew about Christine, and then I've obviously been a big Lawrence fan, so I was really excited when I saw Gracie Lawrence was in it. I was blown away by the show. It's so well done for the jukebox musical, but also because of the setting, it engages the audience so well, because you feel like you're in it in all times, because you're all moving around the stage, the theater. I mean, it's just so beautifully put together, and it's getting amazing reviews, and everyone's loving it and raving about it. So what's your journey with this show been like, being, in it and getting to kind of like, again, explore the space on the stage and with the audiences?
This show has been, honestly, we are having the time of our lives up there, and everyone says it who sees the show. Honestly, it's a huge joy to do this show. I was involved with the workshops and the readings. This is my fourth collaboration with our director, Alex Timbers. Yeah. So when he called me and said, I'm working on this new piece, and Jonathan Groff is starring in it. It's about Bobby Darin. So, oh my gosh, I love listening to vinyls of live recordings. And one of my favorites is a Bobby Darin recording at the Copa. And he said the magic words that this show was taking place in the Copa of like your dreams, and it's about Bobby Darin. And I was like, what? It's like one of my favorite vinyls in the world. So I immediately jumped on, and what I love about Alex is that he creates a room of such openness and kindness that all you can do is step in there kind of with an open heart and with joy and just create. And that's what we did with this show. And watching a person like Jonathan Groff take a role on like Bobby Darin is also just one of the honors of my life, because he's no joke. This is a not to be missed performance, But equating it with cats, talk about immersive. I feel like Alex really took the concept of immersive theater and just threw it on its head and up leveled it in a way that people have never seen.
Yeah, I mean, you are working your way through the theater. There's, the cabaret style seats in the middle that everyone's going. Yeah. And I did really enjoy that. Again, I was waiting. The introduction to Jonathan Groff, I was like, oh, it's kind of also like you're calling it a dream sequence, or like in your mind really lands on that, because it kind of made light of some of the parts of Jukebox that sometimes get the criticism, and it like immediately took that away. And then it was just so fun. Like everyone just immediately kind of like was like, okay, I know what I'm here for, and leaned in, and I saw a great audience, and it was completely sold out, standing room only, and everyone was just having the time of their lives, and it was so fun, and the performances are so amazing.
Thank you. I agree. I mean, the audience reaction to this show has been unbelievable. And I'll never forget our team saying that this is not a jukebox musical, that they're really taking what people think a jukebox musical is and turning it on its head. And I really think they did it, because it does not feel like that at all.
It doesn't. Yeah, I mean, you obviously know some of the songs, which is what makes it the jukebox. But it's also, again, it makes light of some of the things that I would laugh. Like I love and I hope I'm not spoiling it. It's like in the first 5 minutes, but it's like we're in the basement of the Wicked Theater, and it's like just like leaning into like this is what this is, and then having a great time. And I personally moved myself. I had an aisle seat, and I was like, my friend's gonna sit on the aisle, because I had heard I'm not the one that likes to be in the show, so I was like, I don't need to be danced with here. And but it's just like, again, the audience interaction, like it just leans into it. So it does kind of have that Green Eyes feel at the beginning of Cats, where it's like, oh, you're here. You're going to be part of this.
You're
with
in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Well, the moment you walk into the theater, you're in for a treat, because you are immersed completely into this beautiful nightclub. What I love so much, and we've heard it now over and over and over again, multiple times a night. It's people coming up to us, maybe at the stage door or as we're leaving the theater, and saying like, wow, I really needed that. Like, I really needed that kind of joy and entertainment, in my life right now. And all I can say is, well, we needed it too. It's very much a shared experience happening in that theater.
Yeah. I have to I want to cast the Cats into this show, because it's one of my favorite things to do. And I did spend some time thinking about it. And I do think some of these line up better. There's some shows I'm like, we're stretching here. And there's others where like, this actually fits all right. So I'm going to give you the just in time character. And I want you to tell me which cat, personality wise, would play them best.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to start with your character, with Don Kirshner.
Don Kirshner, I'm just always going to go to Gus, because I love this character, and I love the whole Gus Growl Tiger, experience of it.
I saw a little Skimbleshanks too.
I could go with that, definitely.
You're kind of keeping Bobby in order a little bit more, like you're keeping him on time, and you're moving him around. I was like, this feels a little Skimbleshanks.
Well, Don was definitely that in Bobby's life. If you really want to go literally, I was going towards the multi-character aspect of the show, because we all play a lot different characters. Yeah. And for me, what I loved about this Gus Growl Tiger or Bustopher Jones track was that they were just three completely different characters. That's totally. I do a lot of that in my career, so I love doing it.
Yeah, I should know.
Doing it in Cats.
My notes are all purely personality. Like which is the character, like, because, like you said, there's a backstory and there's like a thought on who they are. So let's do the Sirens. The Sirens. I have, this one was the hardest one, I think.
Really? For me, because I know we have, I love this cast. We have our personal relationships, right, backstage and stuff, and we are just fools back there. We are very. So for me, it would be like a trio version of Mungo, Jerry, and Rumple Teaser, because that is the kind of relationship. That
I can see that. I went with the other sets of twins, which is the Tantamount Corcopat, because they're kind of doing a lot of stuff. They're always. I felt like when the Sirens came out, it meant that something else was about to happen, and that's the way they are in the show.
Yeah.
What about Polly?
Oh, Polly. Maybe Polly could be oh gosh, what's the name of the guy? I'm sorry, the names are slipping. But when the day's hustle and bustle is done.
Jenny
the Gumby
Dots.
Cat.
The
Yeah,
Gumby Cat.
Jenny Annie Dots.
That's what I had too. Connie Francis.
Connie Francis. I personally want to hear that voice sing "Memory," to be totally honest. But I do
Fair.
think that, But I do think that's Erica's track. If you look at her kind of her trajectory with her character in the show, I think that would be the Grisabella track. But Connie Francis, oh my gosh, this is a good one. But I'd also love to hear her sing that Macavity.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I had her as Demeter. Kind of feels a little bit of a overbearing father figure. A little bit of the especially in the end when there was the I'm on my fourth husband. I was like, I could see Demeter having that type of life. Yeah, if you can get Gracie Lawrence to sing a few of these cat songs backstage, that'd be great. If she can sing Memory or Macavity or anything, she doesn't have to put it on social media. She can just send it to us. That'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. You answered the next one, Sandra D. I do agree with you on Grisabella.
Yeah.
I thought it was either Grisabella or Bomb Ballerina, like the younger version, I think.
Yes. Yeah. What I love about that character is that you see everything. You see the whole journey in the show, right? So that would be a fun cast.
What about the Nina Mary track?
Ooh, Nina Mary. Honestly, that also has a little bit of a Grizz feel to me. You know,
same Grizz and Bomb Ballerina, like that.
Yeah.
Could have left. I don't want to spoil the show for people, but
no. But that track really gets me in the gut. Every night that I watch it off stage, I'm just like, oh God. And Emily Burgle is just a gift to the American theater, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, we got two left. Charlie.
Well, I know Charlie would want to be Rum Tum Tugger. I know just personally that Joe would want to be Rum Tum Tugger in the cast. But gosh, what do you think his personality would bring out?
I thought Monkish Trap a little bit, has to take on a little bit more responsibility than maybe they want. Could be in line. Yeah, it's kind of hard. It was definitely a little bit more of a subdued but serious character in some cases.
Yeah. It's hard because I'm taking in their personalities. He loves that Elvis section. He loves it so much. And I've seen him work on it over and over and over again. So I know in his mind he would want to be doing that Rum Tum Tugger track. Yeah.
Okay, and then we got to close out with Bobby.
Oh, well, we also have Lance's track too, which I think would also go to it's hard because I'm protective of the Gus track, but I think he would also go towards towards the Gus side of stuff. And then Bobby, Bobby could be an amazing Rum Tum Tugger as well. I think also an amazing Monkish Trap because he is just an incredible leader of our cast, and person.
Yeah, I had Tugger as my first thought, and then I did think there's a Grisabella potential.
I was just gonna say that. I would love to see a Grizz dude, not only because we have an elevator that shoots him up into the stage.
Yeah, he gets his heavy side layer in a different way. Okay, let's close it out and get to the important question here, which is the Jolko choice. But before, I think you already answered this one. Is if you could go on any night, you said you wanted to play Gus. So for one night, who are your favorite and least favorite cats from a personality standpoint? It's who would you want to hang out with and who would drive you crazy?
I'd always want to hang out with a Grizz. I'd always want to hang out with, I think Mungo Jerry Rumple Teaser, that devilish kind of friendship and quality I love.
Yeah.
It's I have a little bit of that in my personality as well. Macavity was never one that I wanted to hang out with.
Okay. Yeah. You want the harmless, mischievous kitten version of Macavity, not the actual hard crime version.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. I like to chill. I like to chill in the background. I love a Gus. I would sit there and listen to theater stories for hours and hours and hours.
I love it. Favorite song in Cats?
Ooh. Honestly, it's still got, even when I saw it in the Jellicle Ball, I keep on going back to Gus, y'all, but like, I just love that track. But I'm just singing Gus is a couch at the theater door. I love that.
All right, my fun one is if we could insert one of the cats into the band Lawrence, who are you going to put in there?
Ooh, wow. I mean, their voices, their musicality, that band is no joke.
So good.
I mean, can we get a Grizz in her prime?
Oh, prime Grizz. Okay.
Yeah.
we're gonna get Grizz before all the problems, before she left the tribe.
Yeah,
okay.
When she was in her prime, definitely.
Yeah. This is just my ploy to try to get you to have Lawrence sing cat songs backstage before the show. Okay. My thesis is that I don't think Grisbell is the right Jellicle choice. I am hopeful as a Gus that I'm going to be able to convince you otherwise. But who is your Jellicle choice and why?
You know what? You know who? You know who my Jellicle choice is? It's Gus.
Team Gus.
It's got to be Gus. It's got to be Gus. I find him such like a beautiful father figure with this history, and that he just like insists and wants to impart and make sure he's not forgotten. And I find that so important. I find that important in life. I feel like we're forgetting our history, by the minute. And not too many people are sitting down to actually listen to what's happened before us. So I am all for it.
Team Gus. You're not going to get any arguments or follow-up questions. I'm going to just mark you down as Gus, and we're going to keep going and try to get it. My only question is I'm assuming you didn't talk about the Jellicle choice or like picking a different Jellicle choice when you did your productions in high school and regional. Have you talked to Christine about cats?
No,
backstage?
I'm going to today.
Today is the time, because she was Bomb Ballerina in 2016 and one of my first guests on this show.
I cannot wait.
And she is hilarious about it all too. So you will have a blast today discussing. How can people stay in touch with you? I'll link everything about getting tickets to Just in Time, but how can people follow on everything you're doing?
Amazing. I'm mostly on Instagram, and it's just my name, @Caesar Samayoa.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. I love capturing illegal high school productions. Was one I did not have on my bucket list for the show, but now I'm glad we got it in there.
My friend Michelle is going to kill me.
Oh, it's great. It's so great. And then everybody, Run to see Just in Time is so fun. If you haven't seen it, go. If you can get yourself to New York, if you're in New York, it is fantastic. I cannot say enough good things about it. Everybody who I've talked to has seen it, has loved it. And it, like you said, it's a good time. Like people, we need that type of show right now. And like you will walk out feeling better. And that's always great for me with theater. Is I like theater that makes me feel good at the end of it.
I love it. I think I hear it over and over again that it's a cast of vets, right? Of Broadway vets. And it's amazing watching people at the top of their game up there. It really is. It's beautiful.
Yeah, an unbelievable cast. A great show. And I had a blast. So I hope more people. I hope everyone gets to see it. I know it's mostly sold out every night. So you all are having great success with it.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming on, and thanks everyone else for listening to this episode of The Wrong Cat Died, the podcast breakdown the catastrophe. To follow along, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at The Wrong Cat Died, or check out our website, thewrongcatdied.com.